CWJ in short. Then again, because of people used to be segregated by dividing our people lana in Soweto, we have different sections. As you'd find with the last corner, this is the Soweto section. Strictly, you'd find strictly Soweto speaking people in this area a lot. And across the Greenland, across the Greenland, that would be the Zulu section. But today, recently, because we are in this freedom system, but not yet free, yes, now we are mixed in different townships. You find which my neighbor is Zulu, Xhosa, Shambani, Ganjalo. This is how we get to learn again from one another. We're talking in a shaman and in a strong and in a most of the houses that we see down here below us, these are the houses that mostly were built from the loan of the Oppenheimers, from the £3 million, and most of them that they are still looking the same, the 40-meter squared houses. They have 2 bedrooms, a dining room and a kitchen. No bathrooms inside these houses, but with one external toilet right outside with a tap of running water. And because of their shape, they were named as the matchbox houses. And even still today, we can still see them from this aerial view. They're still looking the same, some of them. And because of people didn't own the houses, they couldn't extend or do whatever to the houses. But abafuna ukuqasha abaqashi uzoza ngomkhukhu wakhe izozo yakhe, the corrugated iron shacks, and then to plant their shed in the yard and uzorenta kanjalo. Recently today, we see the backyard rooms. That this is how formally now we are doing them. Because you would have 2 rooms and a garage as the backyard rooms. A garage mostly serving as parking for the imoto yako, but because of amanyama family don't have cars, it would be a much bigger room to be living in it again, and then living yako is different. Some of the people now they are extending their houses, bigger much houses, some are double story and so on. And not only that, the view besides the when you look up there, we have the White Mountains. Do we see them? Yes. Besides the mountains, when you look a bit towards your right, moving only your left, moving only your eyes, there is this view that we get right at the end of the buildings which are standing right up tall there. That's the view of the city, Johannesburg, right in the middle of the city. Sibona yokuqala, the Hillbrow Tower within the buildings, which we name it today as the Telecom Tower, and then the one on the far left, standing alone, that would be the Senitech, the SABC Tower, the one in the Auckland Park. Yes, yes, that would be the SABC Tower. And then coming to your right again, there's the reddish and blue tower there up there. Those are the Orlando Towers that I mentioned earlier on. That's where they used to generate electricity for the people living in the city, but it's based in Soweto. And recently today, it was shut down in the early 80s to the 90s. That's where again it was reopened later to be serving as a place of fun. It's a restaurant and a pub. Then those towers again, it serves again as where they do the extreme sports, the bungee jumping. I mean, I only went up there an opportunity that I got to go and see the view of Soweto. I didn't want to do this with the bungee jumping because I'm scared of my life. Yes. And from the Orlando Towers, there's a shade of clouds. When you look a bit towards your right by only moving your eyes from the Orlando Towers, there are brown buildings standing upright tall. Do we see them? With the whitish billboards on them? From the Orlando Towers yes, towards your right, only moving your eyes from the Orlando Towers towards your right. Yes. That would be the Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital, the biggest hospital in the southern hemisphere and the 3rd largest hospital in the world. It consists of about like 600,000 beds inside that hospital. It used to be a motel. It used to be a military hospital, and the owner by then as it was named after him, Mr. John Baragwanath. So recently today we know it as it's honored and named after Mr. Chris Hani, and also all wedding to Baragwanath. And yes, that's where as a free public hospital I was also born there. the 80s lapha yangazi ukuthi konke bekungama-84, 85, 6. Yeah, but yeah, ngumntana wama-80s. Then just besides now the Christian Paraconas Hospital, some of them I didn't explain to them, I forgot Tangas Ganjan. There's a structure of a building that we see, the great building, and then next to it, Gunale, the one, the reddish and white one, is Sapa Imaponya Mall, the biggest mall here in Soweto recently. I'm not sure, maybe is it, but maybe the first one I could say. Laya Akwala Soweto, Imaponya Mall, named after Mr. Maponya, or Richard Maponya. Richard Maponya was he's one of the greatest entrepreneur men around Lana Soweto. He used to sell amaveji, amafruit, ngokuhamba la elokishini, house to house, kanjalo, and that's how he started his business. And then ShopRite, yathanda the way bekayenza ngakhona ngoba ugcina avula amashopu. Then they got to brand ShopRite under him ngale ngasedube moya ngale ngase Orlando West. There's the ShopRite by Elizabeth ShopRite, Maponya ShopRite. Then after some time, that's where they built also again a mall by Biza after Enabathi Maponya Mall. That's a virgin active, the Pangwayo, indoor virgin active in the swimming pool kanjalo. And just down here again, Siboni School alana under the trees, but Morisa is in high school. Last one I can motor las into the clinician yellow white walls. That's where again the most of the 1976 the uprising riots have happened. Not to actually start there because of many other schools, but that's the school that influenced many other schools around like Soweto to march and revolt against the language, Afrikaans, that was oppressing our people as it was the medium language by then in those eras. So again, Utsi Mashinini was the leader of the school children of 76, the greatest leaders. He went to that very same school and he lived not far from the school. The house here under the Apollo Guest line, La Pemasbone Parking, there's a house under the Apollo Guest line, the street called the tallest street called that you see there in the park. Yes, the house with the flat roof with the creamish white walls. That's where Utsi Mashinini used to stay and live. And unfortunately, because he got to run away from the country, going to the exile in Tanzania, he pretended to be dead in a coffin. And unfortunately, when he came back to South Africa, he was presented as dead in a coffin again. And the family by then was mourning, not thinking straight. They got to sell that house. Unfortunately, the house was supposed to be turned out to be a museum. And the government tried as much to manipulate the family who bought that house, but it made it so difficult for them that they didn't get the chance to buy that house back. So the government ended up building this memorial acre, a museum in the park, that structure to honor Utsi Mashinini. And again, they have the life stage of Utsi Mashinini right outside of the museum next to the main road, with the right hand up saying power to the people. So that's where they ended up doing things like that. And the very same school again, Morisa is exing. That's where they also shot the film Sarafina. Around La Gule Logishi, that movie there, Sarafina, by shooting up a Gule Logishi. The scholar they said you should have seen to shoot that. Are we clear? Turning around behind us here, Jabulani Hostel. Today recently, because you see there's a construction on site. Those rows of houses, I'm hostel obviously. That's where they used to segregate our families again. You'd find this hostel was strictly for the men, to settle strictly the men without their families, their wives and children and so on. And the men would be serving as the migrants, digging out the minerals in the mines, amagolite, amataimani, lapima mine. Recently today, they are living together with their families and children, and they are now working in different jobs. And the government is demolishing the old structures of the hostels, building these three-story apartments, serving as family units recently today. This is now the future. Yes, the democratic country system. And then further up there, we have the building there with the red block in the middle. That structure serves as a theater, and it's named after Soweto, by Elizabeth Soweto Theater. It's a three-stage theater, top of the range class theater around like Soweto, the first actually again. It's next to the old theater and open theater, by Elizabeth Amphitheater. That's where in the history we find Uguti, the history Ubani, umama Batusin's Mandela, the daughter of Mama Gisela Mandela. She got to read out the letters there to the community that came out of prison from Robben Island, Utatake, Ubaba, Umatiba, and she read out to the community to tell the people to what they want to see coming towards South Africa change. As we see today that Koni change but not enough. As Gabi said, it's fighting on the change around South Africa. And yes, once again, the surrounding areas is Jabulani Mall, the surrounding areas it's Fire Brigade Station, the police station. Lastly, we have the new hospital named after Mr. Peg in Langeni, and it's to assist out Chris Hani Parakwanath Hospital. Hence, I mentioned that Soweto is larger than before, that other people are much further back, that they cannot reach the Chris Hani Parakwanath Hospital easily or quicker. So they will be taken in there firstly, and if you can afford medical aid, you can go to private hospitals or clinics. Are we clear? Yebo. Bonge, isikhathi senu.